Elite Machine returns to Cannington for the first time since the start of June this weekend. Hello, my name is James Broadhurst. Welcome to the Wednesday preview. Joining me, as he always does, is the Regal race caller himself, Hayden King. Hayden, how are you? And isn't it exciting to see a dog the calibre of Elite Machine, of course, the conqueror of the Brisbane Cup back here in WA?
I'm going okay, James, and absolutely it is. All conquering, in fact. Elite Machine went over there to Queensland and turned them up. Was brilliant in winning there and comes straight back to Cannington. It's only been a couple of weeks since that run and comes back here and looks very hard to beat indeed. But we'll have a closer look at that race very soon.
That's right. Talk more about that greyhound in a moment. But let's get stuck into the weekend. We're going to have a look at a couple of free-to-alls. First one on Friday night. This is over the 380 metre journey, race 7. And Wells of Silence here in box 2 has now won his past 5 starts. Well, that is except for the one time that I backed him. So 4 of his past 5 Wells of Silence. I think we can put to bed any issues we may have had with him stepping up from the 275 to the 380. Almost. Did get a little bit tired towards the end of the trip last week and does step up to the free-to-wall level this time round. Obviously relies on early speed, as a lot of these dogs in this category do. Now, Weston Hazy can be just as quick as Wells of Silence out of the traps. Didn't jump last week, but this is Weston Hazy from 3 weeks ago. He's in the green and white of the reserve runner. He's off to a flyer from box 3. Storms out to a 6:36 first section. Junkyard Zeus and I'm a Tiger give pursuit, but Weston Hazy maintains a comfortable margin throughout and goes on to win in a PB time of 21.62. Now won 4 of his past 8. 7 of those have been top 3 finishes. Some of the other threats in this race, Elliptical, of course, won last week. That was good. Good win there. Is now in really good. Has been racing in really solid form over this journey. We've also got Sozens Azuri here from the pole. Handy little race, this one on Friday night. Where are you looking towards?
There are definitely a few chances in the race. I think the big winner from the box draws is Sozens Azuri. This dog has been beginning well in recent times, but has just been getting mixed up in a lot of early traffic. Now, this Friday, he gets a big opportunity to boot up, and I'm not sure that Wells of Silence will cross him.
Sozens Azuri is quick enough to beat Wells of Silence out?
Potentially, yes.
Okay.
I don't think he's as fast through the mid-sections of the race, but he might be able to hold the lead and keep them all wide, and from there, in front is the place to be, and he'd give them something to catch. So he's not out of this, Sozens Azuri. I've been following him for a while, and when he does get out in front, that's when we can see him be really effective. Wells of Silence, if he does lead, he'll be very hard to beat. As you alluded to, he wasn't necessarily the strongest dog last time out, but the overall time was still very good. So he's going to be very tough to beat if he can lead. From behind, though, it's going to be a tough ask. Ultimate Command, we know, is a strong finisher. Just needs to balance up within shouting distance, and he'll be getting home into exotics calculations. Weston Hazy, the other dog you mentioned, from a pace angle, he's going really well. If he was able to get out in front, suddenly he becomes the one to beat. Then Elliptical, who did jump last time out, first time out for Ben McLean, and did the job there, and we know is relatively strong. So if he put himself up in a position to pounce, he's the one, aside from the couple of favourites to his inside, that could potentially show early speed and still be there doing his best work late. Then Good Odds Buzz, Riley Keeping, Ice King, who are all going to be up against it from out there. It's going to be an action-packed first 50 metres, as these 380 starts often are, and it could well decide the fate of many of them.
Oh, absolutely. That launch is so vital to the chance. A lot of these dogs, if they don't lead, Weston Hazy and also Wells of Silence are probably in that category.
And Sozens Azuri.
If they don't lead, probably makes it a lot harder for them, but obviously very capable on their night of jumping to the front. Yeah, ripping race. Do you have, if you had to lean towards one, who would you go to?
I would have to be price sensitive. I'd be hoping for good odds about Sozens Azuri, and then I'd have something each way on him, because he did open $13 last week from a more unpromising box that he was quickly wedged into half that price, $6.50 or something. So he's knocking on the door to win one, but he just needs that bit of luck. You'd have to be price sensitive about he, Wells of Silence, West on Hazy, even Elliptical to get involved, I think.
All right, that is the 380-metre free-to-all on Friday night. Let's swing our attention to the 520-metre free-to-all on Saturday. And, of course, we are seeing Elite Machine in this one. Hayden, of course, he looms very large in this race. I spoke with trainer Jamie Marsh yesterday, and the plan was to give the dog a few weeks off after that win in the Brisbane Cup, but apparently the dog has had other ideas. He's come back in the kennel, he's been tearing it up, he's been very keen to race, according to Jamie, so he thought, well, why not? Let's give the dog a run. He's at the peak of his powers. So he's got box 6 here, which makes things a little bit tricky against a field which is pretty handy. We'll talk more about those other dogs at the moment. Just focusing on Elite Machine, what do you think of him from box 6?
I think it could work out okay, because Granite Song's not the fastest beginner, drawn immediately to his inside. Kanji Giant hasn't found his best form since arriving in the West. Rumble and Moment does have early dash, but it could be a little bit difficult to get across from box number 8. And we know Elite Machine's probably just as fast as any of them early when he gets it right, regardless. So it could work out okay. And the ultimate answer is, if we see the best of Elite Machine and he gets a clean run, he will just win.
Well, the word we're getting, the dog's jumping out of his fur, ready to rock. So I don't think there's going to be any problems with him first up back at Cannington.
No, and he's been here so many times before, and he's defied the odds on a number of occasions. This is going to be no huge test for him in regard to that fact. So he's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there are some potential landmines, though, in this race. There are some good dogs here, not least of which is Firecloud, which had a really nice win last week. Let's have a look at that run. From the pink, Firecloud sweeps across to hit the lead just ahead of Barbecue Man, but Barbecue Man is up for the fight, and the pair settle in for an epic battle. But let's sit back and listen to this call.
Giant, then Jimmy's Decision, Quick Smart and Honestly 2. Firecloud a length and 3/4. Barbecue Man won't give up, still a little bit to do. And then Rumbling Moment, Firecloud edged off the fence. Barbecue Man presented a gap. Firecloud, Barbecue Man, Firecloud does enough, beats Barbecue Man. They usually work in unison. They run the Quinella tonight.
A lot of respect, both chasers out of that run. Hayden, Barbecue Man lost no admirers from that effort. Gets the red this time around. Of course, Firecloud, that's when he's at his best, isn't he? When he's punching up to the lead and commanding the race from out there on the lure. The other chaser you mentioned briefly there, Granite Song. Now, this dog's won his past 2, bit of a resurgence for the veteran chaser. We're also seeing Honestly 2 here. Got a question mark around this dog, beaten in her past 2, but certainly not jumping off. It's a dog that has got a lot of talent and I think can rise again here. Would like to get your thoughts specifically on Barbecue Man, where that dog's at the moment, and Honestly 2 out of this bunch here.
Barbecue Man, I think he's going well enough. I don't think he's gone to that next level yet. We kept touching on him every week that he's a dog that has a lot of promise, but he just hasn't quite furnished into the full article yet, so we haven't seen his best work, but he's racing well, and he's always going to be competitive in these free-for-all races. The other one, Honestly 2, I'm removing that question mark. I'm just taking it away, and it's becoming a statement, because I think Honestly 2's going really well. I don't think there's any problem with her, because last week it was like she had left and right lanes merging in front of her at once, and then she just got collected, and she actually found the line really strongly to still get up and run fourth. So I think she's going A-OK.
Yep.
And then others in the race, Barrio Beast, he would have to lead to be a factor in this. He was fortunate in the sense last week that everything chasing him is not a particularly strong 520 dog, so he was able to hold on. He did have to do a fair bit of work to get to the front, so I'm not discrediting the performance. He got into a little bit of a bumping duel around that first turn, and he had to blast up and find the position. So he did a good job to win. Then Firecloud, last week's winner, when he got across and led, it did look his race, and the only scary moment, I guess, was when he rolled off the fence slightly turning and afforded Barbecue Man that passage. But he had enough in the tank, and it was good to see the old boy back in the winner's circle. Granite Song, I think, is going to find it hard this week from box number 5. coming back from 600 metres to 520 is not the easiest recipe, but he has been going well, and we know he can run good time over the 520 regardless.
Sort of dog that does bob up, isn't he? But as well, Firecloud and also Granite Song.
I'd be surprised if he won this week, Granite Song, but he's been a real trooper. And then Rumbling Moment is drawn out in 8, has that early speed, put himself up there from the outset last week, but just unable to finish it off from that position. It's a good race, but there's one dog that clearly is a league above when you rank them in the tier list.
Certainly the standout there on Saturday night, Elite Machine. We also have racing tonight at Cannington. The first of 12 kicks off at 6:36. Free entry as it is every night here at Greyhounds WA. We've got the final, Hayden, of the Kanyana Trophy. That's a good race, race 5. But my best bet comes in the next race, race 6, Stranger Within. Had the one run back from the spell. Thought that was a decent hit out. The form prior to the break was really good as well from this greyhound. He gets the pole and has got the early speed to use it. So I'm expecting big things from a Stranger Within in race 6 tonight. What's your best bet?
I'm going immediately after. Race 7, number 3, Zeophos. This dog showed a really good turn of foot through the early stages to win 2 starts ago, and I was impressed with that effort. He stepped up last time, and we referenced him in that previous race where he ran a very creditable race there, and he did a good job considering the depth of the field. I think this collectively is a little bit weaker, so I think he can put himself up there in a competitive position, and if he does that, that's half the battle. He'll be very hard to beat. So race 7, number 3, Zeophos.
All right, those are our thoughts for tonight, and that is the show. Hopefully we see you down at the track over the next few nights. If not, though, we'll catch you next week on the preview.